Hey there, before we get started today, real quick product placement. The guys over at eWin Racing apparently like me because they gave me a 20% off code, 1boom20, to give to you guys to save 20% off on a desk or gaming chair. So if you're tired of sitting in that raggedy old thing at that raggedy old thing, go ahead and head over to their website, look at their product line. You're bound to find something you're gonna like. See you when I see you. Enjoy the commentary. Customization has been a core part of Call of Duty's identity for a while, but they've always made one mistake under that pretense. They don't seem to understand at any of the COD dev studios that certain things should be universal, non-customizable, and more importantly, shouldn't require any awkward trade-offs. They don't understand this, and we saw this back in COD 4 and World at War and Modern Warfare 2, where we had things like stopping power and Juggernaut reigning supreme in almost every lobby. Call of Duty's time to kill was defined by stopping power and Juggernaut, and you shouldn't have to pick a perk to get the gun's proper feeling damage per second. I mean, so many people think the M16 is overpowered in COD 4, but it's not the M16, it's the M16 with stopping power. It's pretty much every gun with stopping power. And of course, everybody would go with that. Either do more damage or have more health is a no-brainer because in the head-on-head gunfights that you're going to be getting into, more often than not, you don't want to be dealing less damage or being able to take less damage. But Call of Duty developers seemed to realize that that was a bad idea and sort of dropped the concept of Juggernaut and stopping power around the time of Black Ops 1. They added perks that increased your resistances to stuff like explosions and concussions and things of that sort, but they didn't put in a bunch of stuff that changes your health and damage, and in my opinion that makes the games far more consistent, but then the inconsistency came in a different form. It became the norm, and in a lot of ways it still is, to have to equip perks and attachments to decrease the amount of flinch you receive from an opponent and increase the speed in which you come out of sprint. Call of Duty's meta can be defined in almost every Call of Duty by having the least amount of flinch possible while coming out of sprint as fast as possible. Now I'm going to be mostly focusing on flinch because that affects every gunfight, whereas speeding up your sprint out time is only beneficial if you are engaging in a faster playstyle. If you're using a really slow, clunky LMG that's sort of designed to lock down lanes, or using a sniper rifle that's better for long range, then, sprint out isn't inherently something you need to put on your class. Of course, Black Ops 2 had to tie mantle speed to the dexterity perk, which is the only reason that game isn't perfect. So with flinch, it's not really a measurement of how much your screen shakes when you're shot, it's how effective the bullets you're shooting are. Call of Duty is full of engagements where you are outgunned, outnumbered, or outcovered. Fighting a head glitcher or somebody using a much higher DPS weapon, something that can kill you in one shot or one burst, you don't want to have a completely zero flinch environment. There are people that think that a no flinch or incredibly low flinch environment makes the game more skill-based, but the people mostly benefiting are high DPS weapon users, which is usually marksman rifles, or shotguns, or LMGs, or sniper rifles. Those are the people truly benefiting in a one-on-one gunfight from having low flinch, because they deal more damage than you, and even if you shoot them first, they're likely going to be able to get one burst of 3 bullets into you. They're going to be able to get that pump action shotty to blow your head off. They're going to be able to land that sniper shot on your upper chest. Black Ops Cold War took 6 months to fix the sniper issue, and what was the sniper issue? Well, there was no flinch in the game, or barely any flinch to mention in the game, so when you would shoot a sniper who's exposing themselves and showing you the glint, you'd start hitting them and then you'd die, because it's a Call of Duty sniper, it's painfully easy to use, and they don't even have to be fast enough to shoot you before they take damage. And this sort of pattern replicated itself amongst a lot of different weapons that weren't properly balanced for no flinch or the longer time to kill in general. Black Ops Cold War is a mess, but it's not the only game that has this problem. It just sort of puts a really big spotlight over that problem. Even games like Modern Warfare allow people using sniper rifles and marksman rifles to reduce the amount of flinch they receive. Because yeah, when somebody's pointing a weapon at me that can kill me in one shot, the thing I want them to have is flinch resistance. That's neat. You see, how much you flinch an opponent should be a part of the game. It's an important part. It's how you fight off multiple opponents. You fight a head glitcher. You fight somebody using a higher damage, more meta weapon than you. Your bullets are less effective if you have low flinch, and it requires so much precision and it really forces you to use whatever kills the fastest, because getting the drop on somebody with an underpowered weapon, that one SMG that maybe needs a little bit of a buff, is miserable in an environment where you can't flinch somebody. So that should be just something you factor in. SMGs cause X amount of flinch, ARs cause X amount of flinch, you get it. I also think there should be a flinch multiplier, a little one, just depending on the heft of the weapon you're using. If you're using an LMG, I think you should get flinched off target a little bit more. You already have crazy amounts of ammo or damage, the ability to instantly delete somebody. Do you also need to just absorb bullets as you're doing it? I think if you're mounted somewhere with an LMG in Modern Warfare, I should be able to hit you with an SMG and cause you to have to, correct your aim a little bit. I mean, you have every advantage in that scenario, so I don't know why you would argue that you need one more. And snipers in Call of Duty, I mean, the people that say that sniping in Call of Duty takes some insane amount of skill, that's fine. That's sort of a tell me you don't play other shooters without telling me it sort of situation, but I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Call of Duty snipers are incredibly easy and simplistic to use, and they're mostly a muscle memory thing, and on mouse and keyboard it's point and click adventure, and on console it's mostly aim assist fishing, so I'm sorry if that's hard for you to hear, but it's true. And if I see you aiming at me with a sniper rifle, I see your scope glint, and you're looking at me, you should have to kill me quickly. If you are able to absorb 1 to 2 bullets and then still be able to comfortably shoot me, the game has done something incredibly wrong. One thing I wouldn't mind seeing is flinch resistance being built on to sniper rifles' lower zoom optics. So if you lower the zoom of your sniper rifle, you take up less flinch, which is already sort of a thing, because obviously any flinch you get when super zoomed in is going to be magnified a little bit. But I think if there's any sort of flinch variance, it should be there. I mean, if you're using an iron-sighted sniper rifle, maybe the game respects the fact that that's a little harder to use and you have less flinch. But if you're using a 6-7 times scope and you're just at the end of the map waiting for me to walk in front of your scope, if I start shooting you, it should make you move, reposition. It should make you have to fight that upwards drift to kill me. Now, of course, there's nuance here. There are bad amounts of flinch. Too much flinch is a bad thing, and it makes everything first shot, first serve, and that does get a little old. That's not as competitive as it should be. I mean, Call of Duty is a twitch shooter with a lightning-fast TTK, but alright. Also, you don't want the flinch to be completely uncontrollable. You should be able to point your gun down and sort of compensate for it like it's increased visual recoil before you're shot. It should be manageable, It shouldn't be something that's so jarring and abrasive that every time you're hit, you just have to go, hands in the air, I can't do anything. But the problem that Call of Duty has is that they keep messing with stuff like sprint out times and flinch resistance. You can put all these different attachments on your gun to make it sprint out faster. You can put all these different attachments on your gun or perks on, or whatever, that make you take less flinch. This is incredibly, incredibly noticeable in Vanguard. You can stack so many flinch-resistant things on your weapon that it makes gunfights feel inconsistent. Sometimes I start putting bullets into somebody and my bullets are incredibly effective. They're getting flinched, they have to compensate for it, I caught them with their pants down, I win. Other times I'll start shooting somebody, I'll get multiple hit markers, just to then get killed or have my health stripped down to almost 0 because they have flinch resistant attachments. I obviously can't tell that by shooting them, I can just tell that by the fact that they're able to turn, adjust, and start hitting me, and if they're using a bar or a DMR of some kind that can kill very quickly, this can be incredibly frustrating. I mean, with my M1 Garand, I build it for flinch resistance. That way, if I start taking damage, I can just keep smacking the trigger and eventually whittle the person down. There's also little things in Vanguard that allow you to increase the amount of flinch you deal to somebody. Which, no. Every Call of Duty does flinch a little right or a little wrong, but most players that played Black Ops 2 with any degree of skill used toughness and dexterity. In Call of Duty Ghosts, it was ready up and focus. And in Modern Warfare, people were building their Kar 98s to have good sprint out time and low flinch. So somebody comes in, rounds the corner, starts taking damage, and clicks on your upper chest and kills you. But then some people don't build their weapon for flinch resistance, or they have a slower sprint out time with that weapon because they didn't customize it for that, and you see them around the corner, and you're able to take them out no problem. So this is a multi-layered issue. It's inconsistent what your bullets are doing to people. How fast somebody's gonna come out of sprint with the weapon they're holding is also inconsistent. You're punished for being slower or having more flinch than your opponent. This creates crutch perks and attachments that you don't wanna have to run all the time, but it really starts to feel like you have to. And then a scenario with 0 flinch just creates a really heavily DPS dependent meta. Which is why the M16 in Black Ops Cold War reigns supreme even after its nerfs, because I can put 3 bullets into you while you have to land 4 bullets into me and you're not flinching me with the first one. Flinch could be a timed thing. The first 2 bullets that hit you from somebody's gun causes flinch, but then for the next 10 seconds, no more flinch can be stacked upon you. Maybe you only flinch down to 50% health, and then once you're at 50% or lower, you don't have flinch, but of course you're one-shot. That way you don't have flinch on top of being one-shot. And the game could describe this as a sort of adrenaline mechanic. The lower your health, the lower your flinch. But it'd really just be a 2-tier thing. You have flinch, then you get to 50%, you don't have flinch. Because the person only needs to probably tap you 1 or 2 more times anyway. That could work out really well, and I liked the idea. But more importantly than any sort of clever flinch mechanic, flinch just needs to be consistent. My bullets have varying levels of effectiveness because of all the variants in flinch attachments and perks and things. So sometimes gunfights feel really easy, and other times the enemy feels tanky because they're using a higher DPS weapon with flinch resistance compared to the other enemy using a lower damage weapon with low flinch resistance. Ugh. I'm sticking this little fact at the end of the video. The more variables in your competitive shooter, the more things and customization modifiers you have to account for, the less easy it is to get a sense of the game, to actually accumulate game sense, to be able to predict, understand, and navigate a scenario. Call of Duty's heavily customization based, and it's always going to have those crazy variables where you don't expect something. But just like with Juggernaut and Stopping Power in the past, sprint out times and flinch resistance need to be universal based on weapon class. That way when I see an enemy sprinting with a short little SMG, I know that it's an SMG. I know about how fast I have to shoot at them before their gun's up and dealing damage to me. And in this video, I am not advocating for high flinch or slow sprint out times. I'm advocating for consistent flinch and consistent sprint out times. Again, there's nuance here. Maybe certain optics can reduce flinch if they're less zoomed in, but maybe the more zoomed in ones tell you you will receive more flinch when using this optic. And again, I love the idea of you only taking flinch if you're above 50 HP. Being one-shot in Call of Duty is a bit of a death sentence, so I kinda like the idea that you also don't have to deal with flinch during it. You have to be fast for a different reason. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this. This was fun, not a very funny commentary, not really humorous or entertaining, but more so this is just me picking your guys' brains about flinch and sprint out times. If you want to leave a comment, let me know you got to the end of the video by commenting the word warning in your comment. That way I'll know you made it to the end, and then I can take your comment a little more seriously. It's easier for me to hear you out if you heard me out. See you when I see you. Goodbye.